I think about it, I feel like singing. In my soul, the joy bells are ringing.
Hello guys, this is Jo, and I am excited to talk to you about our family Merida, Mexico trip that we took. We were there for a month, and let me tell you, it was amazing. Yes, amazing. And I just want to bring to you and share with you just a little bit about Merida, Mexico, about the things that we did and why we did it, and just show you a little bit of what we are excited about with regards to Merida, Mexico. Let me just give you a brief history of Merida. This comes from Trip Savvy online. You can read a little bit more about Merida from tripsavvy.com, and it states that Merida is the capital of the Mexican state of Yucatan, located in the northwest part of the state. It is a colonial city with a strong Mayan cultural presence. Due to its geographical isolation from the rest of the country, the city has a distinct feeling from other colonial cities in Mexico. Now, the characteristics of Merida is its awesome tropical climate, its colonial architecture, the Caribbean atmosphere because it's actually on the Caribbean Sea, and its frequent cultural happenings, which my family and I got to attend a couple of those amazing cultural events. Let's get started. I'm excited to show you and why. Again, let's start with why I chose Merida, Mexico. So my husband and I, as you know, if you watch my travel trip video, and I'll have it above if you want to check it out after, we just like to travel. We like to see new places, and we've done it a couple of times, and each time we come back, we're like, we need to spend more time in this place. A week doesn't do it. 2 weeks doesn't do it. So let's try a month. And so because of that, we thought, okay, let's find a place that has low cost of living, less expensive accommodations. And there were a few that popped up that we were excited to check out. The first one was Portugal. The second one was Greece, just to name a few. But as you know, because you've been in the world, there has been a pandemic going on, and things have shut down, and you're a little bit wary of making travel plans. And so with that in mind, when we were looking, which was in January of this past year, December, January, we were kind of concerned about Europe, and that's the place that we kind of usually gravitate to there, or the Caribbean. I'm originally from the Caribbean, so we are always heading down there. And we were kind of concerned because Europe at the time had some stringent rules, and then America had stringent rules if you were coming from Europe back into the United States. And so we were kind of concerned about what would happen in the summer. And we just kind of wanted to find a place that was a little bit closer to home, just in case, you know. And I was looking on YouTube, and Merida, Mexico kept popping up. There are a couple of YouTube channels that I subscribe to that are kind of started by single women, minority women, and they were just in love with Merida. They felt safe there. It was low cost of living, so they can kind of experience and live in a place without kind of breaking your back working. You can still work and do what you want, even if you're not getting as much money. And it was beautiful. I kept seeing these amazing pictures of the colonial architecture. And then also the talk about, like, 30 minutes away, there was Progreso or different beaches that you can go to. You not only had the Caribbean Sea, but you also had the Gulf of Mexico. as well. And so with that in mind, I start talking to my husband. We should try this. Let's look into it. And we found out it was like rated like the second safest place after Quebec City in the Western Hemisphere. So I said, sold, let's do it. And so we ended up getting an Airbnb for a month and heading down and just had an amazing time. My husband still had to work most of the time, but my children and I were able to kind of go around the city and check it out, and even be able to take some classes at Spanish school called Habla. So one thing that my husband and I love is just old architectural buildings and kind of like old world feel. And I feel that Merida, Mexico definitely has that. I mean, some things dating back to 1600s in architecture, or buildings, I should say. And of course, you have the Mayan ruins nearby that we got to see that are many thousands of years old. Let's talk about the feel of the city. The city it's quite walkable. It is really widespread, so I don't think you can, I know you can't really kind of traverse the whole city in a day. But if you're in Central, which is where we were, where we stayed, you can easily get to different things. You can get to downtown Central. You can get to the Paseo de Montoya, where they have all the amazing shops and historic homes. So we were close to those things. Tons of restaurants, coffee shops, just downtown, markets, shops like grocery stores. And just looking all around, you can just tell that this is the cultural hub of Mexico. I mean, the buildings are old and well kept. I love the colors of the different buildings. It's just really beautiful. One of the things that my husband really loves is the fact that there are courtyards. He has a thing for courtyards, and most homes have that. If you look at the houses that you walk by, it's just walls. There's a door and then there's walls, different color walls. But if you open the door, the inside can be different from one house or building to the other. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. You see the front of the place that we were staying is beautiful. It's this blue house with an awesome wooden door. But then you open the door, it's as if you come into an oasis. A quiet oasis away from the noise and bustle of the downtown area. So that's what I'm talking about. I love the architecture and the different ways, which is hidden because of the wall. And then you walk in and it's just like it opens up. Another thing that I like about it is just the colors, the bright colors of the buildings. Whether it's just a home or whether it's these amazing college buildings and museums and city halls that are just vibrant and beautiful. And I like the fact that the Mayans and the people of Merida just really are excited and proud of who they are and where they come from, and they take care of their places. Most times things are kept up. The streets are relatively clean. There is trash day almost every day. Every other day someone comes and pick up the trash. Of course, it's a city, so there's different, sometimes there's litter on the floor, but for the most part, they really keep it clean. There's people outside sweeping and, again, taking great care of their property. Let's get into the amazing cultural places and cultural sites. So we went to about 2 or 3 Mayan ruins. So these are Chichen Itza that we went to, Uxmal, and I believe it's Oxmal. I hope I'm not mixing it up, but it was just amazing. Just to think that thousands of years ago, there were people standing where I was standing when I was there. One of the great things is we went on a tour, and the tour started really early. If anything, that morning we were like, why did we do this? But there was a reason for this. By the time we got to, let's say, Chichen Itza, which is the first ruin that we went to, Mayan ruin that we went to, we were basically kind of the first in line because we came so early. And so walking into, it's like a long walk. As we're walking, the birds are chirping, the sun is kind of coming up further up. There's a mist in the air, and then it just opens up and you see the amazing architecture of the temple or the places in which the people lived. It was just dynamic, I say. I felt something there, just walking around, and it was not a lot of people. I mean, we have pictures of us just standing next to the ruin, and there's nobody behind. There's not a ton of tourists because we went so early. Now, I just want to let you know that the ruins are not that close to Merida. I believe we were driving for about an hour and a half. But you're still able to go. The buses and the tour that we went on, they did a really great job of just making the drive easy by talking to us about the culture of Mexico. There was water, it was air conditioned. So it was a very pleasant drive to these different cultural areas just of Chichen Itza or Uxmal. So one of the other things that we went to, and we went to about 2 or 3 of them, is the cenotes. Now the cenotes are these water holes that could be in caves, they can be open, but it's just a body of water that is fresh bodies of water that's clean, that's just that has this amazing blue color, clear water. The first one that we went to was like a cave, like you had to walk down the stairs. Now, let me tell you, what was crazy was the cenote that we went to was owned by a private resident of Mexico. He was looking for a well for his family about 20 years ago and was digging, and they came across the cenote. So what he did, which was really smart business-wise, is that he opened it up and have a charge. So you go to his cenote and then his family cooks for you. So we had really awesome, authentic Mexican food. Then we were able to go to the cenote and just swim around, and it was beautiful. There's tons of cenotes. I haven't even hit the surface. I only went to 2 or 3, and there are many, many, many hundreds of them. And they're all different. Here's another one where it's open to the trees and the air, and you can see the sky, so it's totally different than the first one, and it's massively deeper. The first one that we went to, I think it was down by 19 feet in some areas. This one, I believe 19 feet was the shallow area of this cenote. So the great thing about that is in case you're a little bit nervous, they had life jackets for you to wear. And so I had a life jacket. I'm not the best swimmer, and so I felt more comfortable having a life jacket. But it was just awesome. There were babies in there, teenagers, older adults. It's just a great happening place. We were cheering people on as they were jumping in because it's so deep. You can jump in. This one guy jumped from like the highest. I mean, let me show you how high it was. And it was not an issue because where he was jumping, it was like maybe 20 to 15 feet or even more. It was crazy. But that was just an amazing experience. Now, let me just cut in here and just say that one of the things that I loved about Merida, Mexico was the people. I felt that they were super, super nice, super comfortable to talk to. If they didn't know Spanish, I'm sorry, if they did not know English, they really tried hard to sign language or broken English. And I'm doing Spanish, trying to speak Spanish because I really want to learn that language. It's such a beautiful language. But we had people coming up to us on the side of us, chatting to us about their culture, about where we should go, where we should eat. It was really kind of weird sometimes, I think at the beginning, because we are from New England, and it's not like it's New England people are not nice, but you kind of keep to yourself in the city here. But there, it was just like they were super friendly, just wanted to help you. You know, you didn't feel like there was an agenda. And I kind of after a while, I got accustomed to it. But at the beginning, I was like, why are they being so nice? But they're truly, truly nice people. And I just love the fact that they knew about who they're from. Like there are many Mayan families, descendants, that they know where they come from. Oh, my family is this family, and they've been here since the beginning. Or we are mixed with the Spanish. One part is Mayan, the other one is Spanish. They just know who they are. And to me, I don't know, as I get older, that is kind of important to me. Like, where did we come from? Who is my family? Like, those are the things that maybe now I am thinking about, that maybe as a teenager, I was like, well, I don't care. But now it's important to me. So I saw that specifically, and I loved the fact that they weren't ashamed or not caring, even the younger people. We had a guide who took us to the market. Let me show you a little bit of the market, just to cut in. There were like live animals at the market. There was fresh fruits and vegetables. There were places that you can eat. There were even places where you can buy statues for your home, which was so weird, but it was amazing. Just the fact that everything you want is in the market. But then we had maybe an early 20s tour guide, and she knew who she was, where she came from, and she was excited and proud and had that knowledge. And I hope that my children have that same sort of interest in knowing where they came from and who they are, and kind of like be able to talk about it, have that knowledge, which is what I think they had. So let's talk about food. Oh, food. One of the things that I loved about Merida was that everything that you ate was basically hand scratch. It wasn't store-bought, like they made it from scratch, which was really nice. I have to tell you that almost every meal there's a tortilla. And so it's freshly made, of course. And there's like different pockets where you can get freshly made tortillas. You can even bring your corn sort of like thing, like, not, I wouldn't say the dough, but the corn before it is kind of made into a tortilla. And they have places in the market where you can actually bring your stuff in, and they will kind of put it to the machine so you can get your freshly made tortilla. So that each tortilla is slightly different because each family or place or restaurant have their own sort of ingredients and recipe for tortillas. The main meat is pork. And if you don't like pork, I am sorry, it's pork. In Merida, there are places outside where beef and fish, and that's closer to the water. So when we went to see the Colorados, I hope I'm saying it, Los Colorados, where it's beautiful pink kind of like water where they kind of get salt from. This is where their salt comes from. When we went to a restaurant there through our tour, we had fresh fish. I had like a fresh snapper that was delicious. And so everything is fresh. I would say after a while, you can get tired of pork or tortillas. The great thing about Merida is that you have so many different restaurants. There was Italian, I saw Japanese, Chinese, anything that you can think of is there. Now, certain areas of Merida, like outside of the main central historical center, it kind of looks like a mini US. You can find Costco, Sam's Club, Home Depot, Pizza Hut, KFC, Domino's. And so if you are tired of maybe tortillas or eating pork, there are other places that you can go to. One of the other things that I loved about Merida, Mexico is it's a cafe lifestyle. There's so many cafes. And of course, everything is made from scratch in regards to pastries and bread. It was scrumptious. I mean, I could go to a different cafe every day and it would be awesome for me. But there's so many different cafes. We went to a couple. We went to Saco. We went to another cafe called Cafe Tho, which is on the Paseo de Montoyo. I want to say it correctly, which is what I love. We went there for breakfast, and then my husband and I, in the evening, because it's close to where we were staying, we would just go there for a drink. And we would have little nibbles, like we had like a chocolate dish with nuts with it. And I loved it because it was beautiful courtyard that you were sitting in. I felt like I was like in like a place where it was like Casablanca or some exotic place with the palm trees. It was really, really beautiful. I love that type of architecture. My next house, I want to have just like this. Let me show you a picture of it. But it was really nice. The servers were awesome they mostly spoke English, so you had no problem if you don't know Spanish. But my husband and I were trying to speak Spanish because we really want to learn it. And they were really good about saying, no, you don't say that, say it like this, or helping us when we needed help. I'm telling you, majority of the time, they were super, super helpful and friendly. And so you just had a kind of relaxed and comfortable feeling that I love. The other thing that was awesome was on Sundays, I don't know if it's Saturday and Sundays, but I know specifically on Sunday, they shut down the main Paseo de Montoyo, the main highway. And so you can rent bikes and ride your bikes. People bring their own, and they were roller skates, they were skateboards, and so there were different things that you could do on a Sunday. You can tell people were coming that were local, tourists, and they all just had a wonderful time. Of course, having different carts filled with food and nuts there and drinks if you got thirsty or hungry. And I kind of like that community feeling that brought, right? That you just felt a part of something.
I tried, I could not hold this. You're so good, God, you're so good. It takes forever.